I am going to put in a licensing complaint against this agency. This is a risk of harm to the child. Nobody in this entire team knew that there was a new complaint that happened in the placement. This is irresponsible, it's unprofessional, and I would like an adjournment.
Guys, the hearing opens with immediate tension already in the air. One of the attorneys raises a serious concern.
Rapidly moving pieces in this case. And I'll let the attorneys make any comments about that after appearances.
Lee Heiss, lawyer guardian ad litem.
Ms. Sasha Thomas, counsel for the department, present on Zoom, as well as Ms. Kristen Smith.
Kristen Smith, foster care worker from Catholic Charities.
Alexis Stang, appearing on behalf of Ariel Berger for the respondent mother.
Let's go first to Ms. Heisey.
There was a family team meeting that I was not a part of, and some changes made so that the child changed placements. I did receive DHS 69s on the days that the boy was moved, but I wasn't part of the FTM that started the movement. So I would hope to be a better team member so that I am included in those moves in the future. I have some input on that decision making that I'd like to bring to the group.
We did spend a significant amount of time in a sidebar discussing, I think like maybe who knew what at what time, and the information that needed to be shared amongst the attorneys. So I was able to forward Ms. Stang the information that I had once I was able to receive that. But otherwise, I think Ms. Heiss has said essentially what we discussed in the sidebar.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor. I visited with the child in person, and he is enrolled in a new school, and he isn't unhappy where he is. From my broader perspective, moving schools and those kinds of things are a big issue, so that if we could discuss things before we make moves, I think it's better for the child. So he is not in, he is having all of his needs met in the current placement. However, in my history with the case, this was not a placement that's available for permanence. Now, if you just ask the question a certain way, a lot of family members will answer in a certain way, but if you spend some time and get to know them and really evaluate, sometimes they will let you know that they're open to other permanent solutions. So I would like to be part of that planning. This little guy is a lot of energy. Aunt is driving him to school because he's out of district, so that he is with his aunt's son in that school district. And he has have to be reconnected with CMH in a new county. And last time he was in this jurisdiction, he had a YMCA membership. He has an awful lot of energy. And it was the department, I think, was able to secure that YMCA membership, so we'll have to see if he can't get there. This placement has a lot of outdoor area, a lot of positives in this placement. If there a problem arose, I would like to, and I would intend to ask today where this information came from that disrupted the placement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully you can hear me also. If you can, please raise your hand and let me know when it's raised.
Yes, it's raised.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you're muted, Ms. Thomas.
Okay. All right, Ms. Smith, are you able to hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay. As just a preliminary matter, have you heard from Ms. Hardnett recently?
Yes. Yes, I have. I spoke with her yesterday, and I asked her if she would be attending in person or if she needed the Zoom information. She said that she was attending in person, but would take the Zoom information just in case. So I gave that to her yesterday, and then she texted me this morning and asked again what time it was. I told her 2:30, and she said, okay, I'm still planning on being in person. So to my knowledge, she was planning on coming in person, and she also did have the Zoom.
And have you heard from her? So you haven't heard from her since the time the hearing was scheduled at 2:30?
The last time I spoke with her was by text this morning.
Would you be able to send her a text message and ask if she would be willing to log in?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I will say communication with her. I text her and she kind of responds maybe the next day. So
Okay.
it's not fairly quick.
Okay, that's fine. Just let me know, when you're done with that message, then I will just take your testimony.
Okay. I just sent her a text and asked her if she could get on Zoom.
Thank you for that. Okay, so during this last review period, you were assigned this case, correct, as a new foster care worker?
Yes.
Okay, and in your report, you've included the court report, the case service plan for Ms. Hardnett, the forensic fluids referral and screens, the psychological evaluation, the list of substance abuse and mental health treatment providers that were provided to Ms. Hardnett, the psychiatric referral or a screenshot from the prior worker, a safety plan for the child's current placement, and then an updated trauma screening checklist for the child. Are there any other documents that have been circulated since you've filed this court report?
No.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, are there any updates or modifications that need to be made to the court report or any of the attachments?
Only a couple, just because I got a drug screen back. So she LaDawn screen on 11/15. That one was positive for THC, and then she had no shows on 11/21, and today she's required to screen, and so far she hasn't. But those are the only updates.
The judge calls the foster care worker to testify. After confirming that she is under oath, the questioning begins with a simple but important topic: communication with the child's mother.
All right, and during this review period, how would you describe Ms. Hardnett's level of compliance with and benefit from her case service plan?
Very limited, minimal.
Your report indicates that her employment, she has only sent you one screenshot of a payment of like $53. Is that still accurate?
Yes.
And by any chance, were you able to verify whether she in fact is receiving disability income?
I was not. I had asked her to provide me that at our home visit on October 31st, and I never received anything after that.
Okay. And have you been able to go to her house or where she is staying?
Yeah. Yes, I was.
Okay. Was that house appropriate?
Yes, I would say it was appropriate. It needed, I would say, a deep clean. The bedroom that potentially would have been for Samuel, it did have like 3 very large fish tanks in it. There wasn't much room in the bedroom itself, and the bed that she had for him was a toddler bed. So, I mean, but the home itself, it was appropriate.
But you're not sure if she's named on the lease or anything like that?
No. And before I had visited the home, she had texted me, that she was looking for different housing, separate from the man that she lives with. And then shortly after, she said, well, yeah, you can come, visit the home. So it's just kind of unclear as to if she plans on residing in the home, if the man that she's living with is actually her significant other. Yeah, she did. I don't have a lease. I don't have, proof of payment, residency. I'm not, it was all kind of confusing.
Okay. And then for her transportation, she indicates she does have reliable transportation, but no proof of like insurance or like registration or anything like that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And in your report, it indicates that you've offered gas cards or you have given her gas cards. Can you just provide a little clarity on that and what they were for?
Yes. I have met with her in person 3 times. And on all 3 occasions, we provided her with a $25 Shell or BP gas card to use for either getting her from, her home to see Sam on a weekend or for services. How she uses them is, I'm not sure, because for the most part during this reporting, I gave her a gas card on a Friday, and then she failed to attend her drug screens or visit Sam that Sunday. So the agency is kind of trying to restrict gas cards and provide them, for parents to utilize for services, not necessarily for transportation to parenting times. But yes, gas cards have been provided to LaDawn by myself as well as a previous worker.
And for substance abuse treatment, you indicated that she has done a substance abuse assessment. Was that part of the psychological?
No, I believe her substance, I would have to review the file again, but I believe she had a substance abuse assessment completed. Maybe it was through CMH.
Okay.
Because then she was referred to Catholic Charities, I believe, before the case was transferred to us, and she was at one point engaging in outpatient services, but I don't think that it was very consistent. I think she attended a couple and then stopped coming.
Okay.
So I believe she would need a new substance abuse assessment in order to re-engage in services.
And through her drug screens, there are several no-shows, and it looks like, based on the update, there was only 4 provided samples. Is that still accurate?
Yes, that's accurate.
Okay. And just to be clear, you're not requiring her to drive from Lincoln Park to Adrian, that the screening location is in fact in her area?
Yes. When I received the case, I met with her shortly after receiving the case. I believe it was a couple days. And I had explained to her that we could set up a screening location near Lincoln Park if that's where she would like services. I said, I just need to know which county we're working in so I don't duplicate services and what's going to work best for you. So she had stressed that she would prefer services in Lincoln Park. It would be easy for her. So her screening location is only 12 miles from her home. And then I also explained to her that, we send the drug screens to the same place for testing. So I said, if you are in town, and you are in Adrian, or you're going to be visiting Sam and it's easier, you can stop in, screen with me, and I will still send them. But she hasn't taken advantage of a closer screening location.
Okay. And for her mental health treatment to date, are you aware of any services that she's engaged in?
No. And I touched base with her earlier this week to see if she had made contact with any of the providers that I had given her, and she had informed me that she had not.
The testimony then turns toward the mother's compliance with the case plan. The worker explains that she recently took over the case and submitted a detailed court report outlining services offered to the mother.
Your report includes some of the recommendations from the psychological evaluation, and you did go over those with her, correct?
Yes, I emailed them to her. I emailed the full report and I highlighted the recommendation and I encouraged her to review that. And then when I visited the home on the 31st of October, I brought hard copies and again went over those with her.
And did she make any indication to you whether she intended on participating in or following those recommendations?
She stated that she, was willing to do whatever it would take to get Sam back. I explained to her that her, substance abuse and mental health were the biggest things that she really needed to get a handle on. She was kind of all over the place at that home visit. She recently had injured, she broke part of her ankle or her leg. She wasn't following up with care for that when I explained to her, that she needed to establish care with a primary care doctor. And you could kind of kill two birds with one stone, establish a primary care doctor to help with that, as well as medication management. She wasn't interested in getting a primary care doctor at all and just said that essentially life was tough and she's just going to work through the pain. So she said she was open, to doing these things, but there was no follow through at all after that.
And then with parenting time, right now she's allowed to have parenting time that's supervised by her sister within the placement. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. And she's only attended half of the visits that have been offered?
Yes, and essentially a little less than half because she did not visit this last Sunday.
And she's still not contacting the child by phone either?
No.
Has she expressed to you any barriers to going to parenting time?
No, not really. Which she's not doing either. We have a group text between myself, LaDawn, and the caregiver. And initially I had asked that she communicate only through that text, and give the caregiver, half an hour, like heads up, like I'm coming, I'm on my way. That way, throughout the weekend, I could also be in the loop. She doesn't utilize that. She doesn't contact the caregiver. Sometimes she says, she doesn't have gas or transportation to get there. But like I said, then I provided her with a gas card on Friday and she still failed to attend on Sunday. So other than gas and finances, she hasn't provided reasons of why she's not visiting. One time, actually, I apologize. What she did, she went and got a tattoo on Sunday instead. And I know that she provided pictures of her arm sleeve to the caregiver and was excited to show off her new tattoo that day.
And financially, I mean, Ms. Harnett is reporting to you at least that she has employment and that she's also receiving supplemental income through disability. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what
Okay.
she's reported.
Okay. All right. And then right now your report indicates that now the agency is recommending a goal change to adoption. Is that still your recommendation?
Yes, it is.
Is the current placement willing to provide permanency through adoption?
Yes, she is.
Has the current placement relative caregiver explained what has happened between August and today that changed her mind?
Well, yes and no, because when we received the case, September 30th is when the case is transferred to us. And then Sam was placed with Mr. Boone. And when those concerns, which I don't want to back up too much, but I feel like I should explain kind of more of like the placement. Can I explain the placement change? Because it kind of...
well, I guess just right now, if you can just summarize why or what changed the current relative placement, like what changed for her to say that she would not be willing to adopt.
Okay.
Just generally
so when we did place Sam back with the aunt, she had said, and these were her words of what she had, explained to me. She said that she never requested replacement of Sam to begin with, and that the department had, I don't want to say convinced her, but they made it seem like Mr. Boone's placement would have been a better fit and that everything was going to be great there. And so she kind of just like went along with it. She told me that she never wanted Sam to be moved. So then when obviously we moved him back there, before we officially did that, I had asked, you know, we always look for permanency and if it's a possibility. And she said, oh, absolutely. I'll take care of him for, you know, as long as I have to. And I said, you know, does that include permanency and adoption? And she said, yes. So
Yeah.
like I said, I wasn't on the case in September. I don't know why she requested replacement, or I don't know how that all transpired. I just know from when, you know, we got the case and we put him back there, that was one of the, you know, questions that we had asked was, is permanency an option? And she reports yes. And during every home visit, I also asked that again, and she still has reported yes.
The conversation then shifts toward housing, transportation, and parenting time. The worker confirms she visited the home where the mother is staying.
Has she made any indication if the homeowner is also agreeable to that?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
And they're not legally married. So just in my experience, he wouldn't need to, if it came to it, he wouldn't need to adopt. Tremaine could adopt him on her own. He wouldn't necessarily have to adopt him as well.
But does she own that home that they're currently living in?
She does not.
Okay. And if the person who owns a home was not agreeable to it, would that jeopardize the child's stability in that home?
Yes, absolutely. But he is in agreement.
Okay.
That Sam can stay in the home, and that if adoption is, you know, where the case goes, that he is in support of it as well. He said that was not the plan, but plans change.
Based on the safety plan, it appears that the child does not have his own room in that home.
Not yet. The home is a very large house, and the basement is being refinished. And then Tremaine's son is going to relocate to the basement, and then Samuel would move into his bedroom.
Okay. And given all the changes that the child has experienced, where is he with getting therapy?
He is on a wait list right now with CMH. We had to change his insurance from just straight Medicaid to Meridian, and that took effect on November 1st.
In going back to this idea of a goal change for adoption, is there anything from the psychological evaluation that assisted in making that decision? Or can you just tell us a little more about why you believe adoption is the most appropriate goal for the child at this time?
Well, given the length of time that Sam's already been in care, and the pretty significant mental health concerns for LaDawn paired with substance abuse, the fact that she hasn't engaged in treatment or demonstrated, consistency, as well as her unfortunate lack of parenting time to keep that bond with Sam. He's been through obviously a lot and back and forth and, confused of his placement. And he deserves permanency, and at least with his aunt, she will maintain, that bond as long as it's appropriate and healthy.
Thank you for that. Is there anything else from your court report that you would like to highlight for the court's attention today?
No.
Okay. I think that Ms. Heiss will want to know more about the placement, so I'll leave her to ask you about that. Maybe I'll have follow-up questions, but for now I'm done with questioning. And Your Honor, at this time, I would ask the court to accept the court report with the attachments.
I have no objection.
Any objection, Ms. Stang?
Objection.
Thank you. They are received. Questions for this witness, Ms. Stang?
Yes. Would you agree that when Ladon has drug tested, he has only been positive for THC?
Yes.
And would you agree that that's an improvement from prior drug tests or drug issues, I should say, that brought her into this case?
Can you repeat that, Ms. Stang? It kind of cut in and out. I wasn't able to understand your question.
Yes, sorry. I said, would you agree that this is an improvement in results from what brought Ladon matter?
I mean, yes and no. That's kind of a hard question, because I mean, in her case service plan and, you know, the no-shows are considered positive drug screens, even though we don't have them. In order to demonstrate your sobriety, they need to be consistent, with no missed screens. And after her psychological evaluation, we actually increased her drug screens because she was only set to screen once a week. And then based on her recommendations from her psychological, it recommended multiple times a week. So the fact that she's, you know, missing several, I obviously can't say that she's using, but I can't say that she isn't. She picks and chooses when she wants to drug screen.
Okay. And then there was a family team meeting mentioned earlier. Are you the one that invited people to that, or was somebody else responsible for that task?
So the family team meeting that took place was actually unplanned, and we really didn't know we were having a family team meeting until we were having the family team meeting. The D'Angelo, the prior placement at the time, he came, you know, he had contacted us and said that essentially he was requesting replacement of Sam, and we had an FTM within a half an hour. So it was my responsibility to contact people, but given, I don't want to say that it was an emergency placement change, but for the fact that he wouldn't follow a safety plan, it kind of was an emergency. So finding him just, a placement and contacting relatives was really my main priority.
Okay. Were there any notes that were taken during that meeting?
When the discussion moves to parenting time and engagement with services, the concerns deepen. The worker explains that the mother is currently allowed supervised visits with the child through a relative caregiver.
Yes, I have the family team meeting report that was provided to Ms. Heiss. I can forward it to you as well, if you would like it.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. Since I didn't receive those, were those given to Ladon?
Yes.
Okay. And then did you fill out DHS 69 forms once the placement changes occurred?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did you send those to either Ariel or myself?
I know, I don't believe so. I know I sent them to the court and to Lee Heiss. I don't believe that they were.
Why were those not provided to either me or Ariel?
Honestly, it was probably missed in all the paperwork and all the documentation between accepting the case from DHS and then 2 moves within the same week. And I would have to look at the DHS 69, but I'm not sure if at the bottom where it says placement change, if attorneys are listed. I think it says that the court and the GAL is to be notified of the move.
Okay. Did you notify Ladon of the placement changes when those occurred?
Yes, she was present for both of those. She was present for the FTM by phone, and then she was present. Also, I notified her that he would be moving back to Tremaine's after we contacted her for any additional relatives.
Okay.
For placement.
Did she have an opinion as to those moves that she expressed to you?
Yes. So when we met at D'Angelo's house, upon receiving the case and the concerns that were brought up, LaDawn was there in person because she was actually scheduled to visit with the boys later on that afternoon. And I had asked LaDawn if she had concerns for Sam or Manny. And she said, absolutely. And she wouldn't elaborate. I asked her, if she was aware of any sexual behaviors or anything inappropriate that happened between the two of them. And she said, yes. And she wouldn't elaborate what it was, but she was definitely aware that in the past something had happened between the boys. She was there when we created the safety plan. We all discussed, our concerns, and they had, D'Angelo had said that he needed the weekend to talk to the older boys and the other household members to make sure everybody was on board, because the safety plan obviously was affecting their day-to-day living. And then that's when he contacted me on Monday and said that maybe his house wasn't the best fit for Sam, and then requested his move.
Okay. And then in the safety plan that's attached to the filed documents, it states that Tremaine and Samuel share a bedroom. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Does the person who owns the home, do they also share a room with Tremaine and Samuel, or do they have their own bedroom?
No. The owner of the home has his own bedroom downstairs or on the main floor of the room. And then Tremaine has a very large bedroom that includes like a walk-in closet and then also a workout room. But the room is very large. She is in there by herself. And then now with Sam being in there, Sam has his own twin bed on the other side of the room. But then he's going to be moving over to the other bedroom once that's available.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Ms. Heiss.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Smith, who was Sam seeing for counseling when he was here in Lenawee?
I don't believe he was in counseling in Lenawee.
Was
Not
he
to
in
my
need of
knowledge.
counseling? Was he in need of
Absolutely.
counseling?
Absolutely.
And who was he in counseling with when he was placed with his aunt before this placement?
I believe he had he had just the assessment at CMH. I don't think that he had started counseling.
Okay, did you check with any counselor before moving Sam?
No, he wasn't in counseling.
When you got the case, you noticed that there had been a history between these two boys. What did you find out?
So, like I said, we got the case on September 30th. On October 1st, a call-in was made to CPS regarding an incident that happened between Sam, another boy, and a little girl at school. When that intake call came in, I had contacted DHS and asked if there was a history of any sexual behaviors, and they said no.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask for an
through,
adjournment at this point. I am going to put in a licensing complaint against this agency. This is a risk of harm to the child. Nobody in this entire team knew that there was a new complaint that happened in the placement. This is irresponsible, it's unprofessional, and I would like an adjournment.
this
Any
complaint
objections?
didn't happen in.
No objection. I would request the same.
I take no position, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Heiss, how much time would you like?
A week, 10 days, and whenever after that, you can get us back in.
All right, we can call it. I can give you a week and do it remotely. If you want to try, not even quite a week, or I can go probably 2 weeks out. The week of December 9th would be probably more
Okay.
flexible. Try and get you in to finish this up. You start at 8:30 Tuesday, December 10th, if that works for everyone?
Yes,
Okay.
That
Thank
will
you, Your Honor. All right,
I'm sorry, did you say Tuesday, the 10th at 8:30?
I did.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I guess I don't think my supervisor is on the line, and she is also a licensing worker. I guess I'm just confused what's being adjourned, what is being adjourned for?
Ms. Heiss, would you like to articulate any more on the record on that point?
yeah, I really need more investigation. The court report is blank of any factual parts that Ms. Smith is testifying about today, so that I need more time to investigate a new complaint that came in on October 1st. This is the first I'm hearing about it, and there are other issues that I want to bring witnesses in about mischaracterizations today in this testimony.
All right, well, I can't disagree that much of the information that we heard today about the placement, for example, is very inconsistent with what has been placed on record multiple times before this. I do have significant concerns that this child was moved twice in a week without consulting with the guardian ad litem. I do have a longstanding practice in my court, Ms. Smith, that if there's a DHS 69, that it should be circulated to all parties, including the attorneys for the children, and I will hold fast to that. That has been communicated many times over the course of the time that I've been on the bench, frankly, and will remain the policy moving forward. If a DHS 69 is issued, it needs to go to all parties involved. The attorneys for the parent need to know what's happening. The department needs to know what's happening. And obviously the guardian ad litem needs to know what's happening. Before you move a child, it's imperative that you invite the guardian ad litem into that conversation. Especially in a situation like this, frankly, where you're brand new to the situation and there are things that have been in place that I authorized as a court that I am then also responsible for. When you're making these decisions without involving the proper stakeholders, it puts, frankly, all of us in a position where we have a lot of questions, and maybe you have very legitimate answers to those questions. But it shouldn't be something we have to explore on the record. And if I'm wrong, Ms. Heiss, but I think that is the crux of the reason that she's asking for an adjournment, because there are a lot of things that need to be explored that shouldn't have to be explored on the record.
Yes, I do agree with that.
All right, so that's what we're doing. I'm going to give you all an opportunity to do that, and I look forward to the updates too. Frankly, I obviously am very concerned about what's happening with this child and what's happening with this brother, and I look forward to those updates on what did we say? December 10th at 8:30. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, all priorities remain in full force and effect. I will also include in that adjournment that no further moves are to be made with regard to placement unless it's a stipulated order that's been approved by all of the attorneys in this case.
The situation takes another turn. During questioning about earlier placement decisions, the guardian ad litem learns about a complaint that allegedly occurred shortly after the case was transferred. The judge emphasizes that official placement change notices must always be shared with every attorney involved. Ultimately, the hearing is postponed and rescheduled, with the judge ordering that no further placement changes occur until the court reconvenes and everyone has a clearer understanding of what happened.